Right now what we probably have too many storylines.
The great thing about the Vampire Diaries is that I think we have the best writers in the world.
So that when you come
here's
out
the
of
problem
it...
with that.
Okay.
The only problem is she's already died.
And we all sort of agreed that Damon...
Well, how are we going to privilege that? Because Damon compelled her in 208. I love you.
One idea was Damon uncompels her.
Writing's hard. Writing's hard. I think that any writer that tells you it's not hard hasn't quite found their way into the pain of it yet.
They're very open-minded. They understand our limitations.
You're basically starting with a big white blank board, and your job as a writer in the show with all the other writers is to fill up that board with ideas and then to find the best way to put those ideas on the page, sometimes dealing with anywhere from 10 to 20 characters, needing 7 major twists per episode because of all the commercials, and one big, awesome, epic, romantic or emotional moment every single week. We have our job cut out for us, and we work hard, and we do what we can to bring it.
What are we doing here?
I know how much you loved it here. Bringing back memories of the good old Ripper days.
The writing process of the show is that there is no process, but we find our way through the chaos and we find order.
We'll say, okay, we know that this is going to be a flashback episode where we see Stefan and Klaus back in the 1920s, and it's a huge audience reveal that they used to actually be friends back in the day. We'll kind of have that as a starting off point and talk about what flashbacks we'd want to see, and then we talk about how that folds into the theme of the A story and how it all kind of links together. But I just can't go off and do that on my own, so that's why you need the entire writing staff to be there for you to spitball ideas and just to kind of come up with better ideas.
It's a team effort on this show. You have anywhere from 6 to 12 people who sit like a think tank and just throw ideas out and pitch off each other and really collaborate and try to find the best story.
And then once you have the script, Julie will read it and she'll give us tons of notes on it. Everything is just changing all the time.
This is like the logic jail that we got ourselves in already. If the logic was upon death, you remember everything.
Then she would have
remembered that.
Right.
I don't really know what's going to happen from one day to the next, and sometimes they tell us one thing's going to happen, I think deliberately, and then another thing does.
Just because it's on paper does not mean it's done. So a lot of times we have these production meetings and stuff, and they'll be like, so is this happening? And I want to say, like, yes, it's happening on that page today, but really the script is not done until it's ripped out of your fingers. You're just constantly changing it to make it as good as possible. And you just always want it to feel fresh too, and that's kind of the hard part, is thinking of new ideas.
There's a lot of characters, and trying to keep their wants and their drives new and fresh every week is a task in and of itself.
If I'm gonna feel guilty about something, I'm gonna feel guilty about this.
Our fans, I know, because they tweet at me nonstop, they just want to see Damon and Elena kiss. They just want to see Stefan and Elena together. It's sort of like, how can we entertain them until Stefan and Elena kiss? And that sounds like so bad, but it is sort of like, to me, the supernatural part is not what I was sold on for the show. It was more of the beautiful, epic, truthful moments between the characters that felt really fresh to me.
I knew you'd catch me. There's a lot of secrecy involved around the filming of this show, to the extent that nobody told me what I was doing.
There is a way for me to undo the evil I created.
I had no idea where the character was going to go. To be honest with you, I still feel like I'm a little bit in the middle of it all, because things change every day.
Usually a few days before filming, we'll have a really good production draft of the script. So that starts as like an idea, and by the end, it's just like all the dialogue is set in place, and all the actors know their lines, and then we go from there to film it.
Background.
Action.
Elena Gilbert, I presume. Finn Michelson.
I think the burden of this show is that there's so many details and so many characters that it's always on your mind sometime. It's on my mind when I go to sleep. It's in my dreams. It's on my mind when I'm brushing my teeth. It's always somewhere brewing in my head.
The writing staff, they work tirelessly. You can never say they don't work hard. I mean, they literally are morning till night on the weekends, Christmas. I mean, they're literally just like all the time.
It's a hard job to like walk away from, or like to not take home with you, because your mind is just always spinning with tons of ideas, and most of them are like terrible ideas, but it's just, you're always thinking.
I will be laying in bed with insomnia thinking about a million things, and then my head will latch into a beautiful romantic moment, and I'll think about it, and I'll watch the movie of it play out in my head. And then what you hope is that you remember it in the morning, and it's as good as you thought it was at 3 in the morning when you were trying to fall asleep.
What I've learned through this whole process is that you can't just sit down and try to have ideas. They just pop up. There's no way to actually get an idea. It just happens. So that's sort of the frustrating part. It's just like to be patient.
It's not just a go to work and come home and turn it off at the end of the day kind of experience. It's all the time, all day, every day, all night. I've had some dreams about episodes of the Vampire Diaries that, if they made any sense in the waking reality, would have been pretty awesome, but they usually don't.